My girlfriend, the rising starlet Ava Monroe, was grinding on her stylist and so-called gay best friend, Leo Vance, and my own damn party, the one celebrating me winning Best Actor. Leo's hand was high up the slit of her designer gown, his fingers tracing slow, deliberate circles on her inner thigh. The crowd of industry insiders erupted in a chorus of whoops and whistles. Flashbulbs from the paparazzi strobed relentlessly. The smile froze on my face. 3 years together, countless red carpets, and she'd never once been that hands-on with me in public. Leo, catching my expression, gave Ava's breast a playful squeeze. "Relax, Julian," he cooed, his voice dripping with faux sincerity. "You know I only play for the other team. Ava's just my girl." Ava slapped his ass, laughing. "Behave. Everyone's watching." When the song ended, Leo snatched the microphone, his tone outrageously camp. "A huge congratulations to our big winner. Ava, and I got you a very special present to celebrate." Ignoring my thunderous expression, Ava giggled and produced a small, elegantly wrapped box. Inside was a pair of aggressively sexual, practically transparent men's briefs. Leo shouted into the mic, aiming his voice at the cameras. "Julian won a major award, so let's see if he's got the major hardware to match." He shot me a theatrical wink. The room roared with laughter. "Leo, you devil," someone yelled. "Are you trying to steal him? He's taken." Ava watched the chaos unfold, not only failing to intervene, but leaning into Leo's embrace. She took the mic from him. "Leo's a top-tier stylist, you know. He has the best taste. It took us days to find the perfect gift," she announced to the crowd. "I've already checked them out," she added, giving me a look that was supposed to convey how thoughtful Leo was. "They're super comfortable on him, and very flattering." A wave of nausea washed over me. "What do you mean, you've checked them out on him?" As the crowd continued to hoot and holler, I forced my way through, my jaw tight with fury, intending to pull her away from him. Leo released her, but then used the momentum to throw his arms around me in a congratulatory hug. He leaned in close, his lips brushing against my ear as he whispered, "Best actor? So what? I'm the only one who's seen every secret inch of her. You're just a guy who gets to stand next to her on the red carpet." Blood rushed to my head. Before I could react, he had pulled back, giving me a look of pure, triumphant defiance. I had to force myself to stay calm. I was the night's big winner. 100 cameras were documenting my every move. Seeing that I wasn't taking the gift, Ava pouted. "Julian, don't be like that. You just won a major award, and suddenly you're too good for us." I snatched the black lace underwear from the box, my lips twisting into a bitter smile. "Ava, you said you saw him wearing these? Do you have any idea what boundaries are?" I was giving her a chance, an opening to see how far over the line she'd gone. Instead, she got angry. "Are you seriously jealous of a gay man?" she hissed, her eyes wide with indignation. "We're best friends. What's the big deal if we check things out for each other? You're being incredibly petty. Besides, this was all for your gift." Sensing the tension, other actors and friends quickly jumped in. "Yeah, Julian, don't worry about it. That's just Leo's style. It's no secret how close he and Ava are. They're like the platonic ideal of friendship in this town." "They're always like this, totally unfiltered," another added. "Julian's a bigger man than that. He's not going to sweat a little joke, right?" From behind the crowd, Leo shot me a smug, challenging smirk. He was betting I wouldn't make a scene. "Fiend, I play along." I plastered on a magnanimous smile. "You're right. Leo's gesture is truly one of a kind." I paused, my gaze flickering between him and Ava, my voice light. "It's clear you two are the best of friends, even helping each other pick out battle attire for your partners." My smile widened, my tone turning playful. "So, what other intimate matters concerning me are you two planning to collaborate on so closely?" The implication hung in the air, and Ava froze. It took her a few seconds to process it, but then her face flushed a deep crimson. "Julian, what is wrong with you? Are you seriously slut-shaming your own girlfriend in public?" Seeing her rage, a profound weariness settled over me. "What's the matter?" I asked softly. "You're allowed to make your jokes, but I'm not allowed to make mine." Without waiting for a response, I turned and walked off the stage, my face a cold mask, leaving a room full of confused and whispering guests behind me. Backstage, I downed a glass of water, taking deep breaths to quell the fire in my chest. If it weren't for the press, I would have put my fist through Leo's perfect teeth. A moment later, Ava burst in, breathless and furious. "What the hell was that supposed to mean? Do you have any idea what you just did? My name will be all over TMZ tomorrow," she seethed. "Stop being so dramatic and get back out there and tell everyone you were kidding." The last embers of warmth in my heart turned to ice. Ava, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. Did you, for 1 second, consider my feelings in any of this? For 3 years, to protect your girl-next-door image, I've kept a respectful distance from you in public, even after we went official. But you and Leo... She cut me off with an impatient wave of her hand. Oh my God, why are you being such a diva tonight? Best friends. BSD friends. Do you not understand the concept? Don't you have friends? It's not the same. I pressed the heels of my hands into my forehead, a suffocating pressure building in my chest. All those late nights you spent out together, drinking until dawn, you said you needed freedom in your friendships, and I let it go. Last month, you launched that whole social media campaign about your iconic platonic love, posting viral TikToks together every single day. I swallowed that. But this? Ava, what do you take me for? My voice trembled with a bitterness that coated my tongue. I had truly loved her, and she had taken that love and trampled it into the dirt for a cheap laugh. Were 3 years of my life worth so little? Her voice faltered, as if she finally realized she had no ground to stand on. She stomped her foot in frustration and stormed out. We left the party separately, the air thick with unspoken anger. The next morning, I woke up to a text from her. Hey you, don't be mad anymore. Leo and I were just messing with you. I'll make you some of my special mango cupcakes tonight. Okay? Her tone was casual, as if last night's fight had never happened. A sour feeling churned in my stomach. I typed out a reply. This isn't about being mad, but then deleted it. She had a cover shoot for a major fashion magazine today. I decided I needed to talk to her face to face. I arrived at the studio, and before I even opened the door to the main set, I could hear a chorus of laughter. Ava, you and Leo really do make a perfect couple, someone shouted. Don't say that. We just have bestie face, another voice corrected playfully. Ava's laugh rang out above the rest. Well, my Leo is gorgeous. I pushed the door open just in time to see Leo follow her into the private dressing room. I froze, turning to her young assistant, who was standing nearby. The assistant wiped a bead of sweat from her brow. Oh, Mr. Vance is her stylist. They often go in there to finalize the look. Suppressing a surge of white-hot anger, I sat down on a couch outside the dressing room to wait. Ava's phone was on the small table next to me. We had set up facial recognition for each other's phones, a sign of trust. But out of respect for her privacy, I had never once used it. Until now, I glanced towards the closed dressing room door. Just this once. Taking a deep breath, I picked up the phone and opened her iMessage conversation with Leo. Leo, babe. Last night was epic. The exposure was insane. We're top 3 trending on Twitter. The numbers for the performance contract are going to be through the roof. Ava, I know. He almost ruined it at the end, though. Good thing you're so quick on your feet. Leo, don't worry about him. Just think about the 3-picture starring vehicle deal the studio is guaranteeing you once this is over. A few more months of this is totally worth it. Ava, I know. I'm just so sick of playing the doting girlfriend. The Veritas jewelry campaign is about to be announced. We'll use him for one last PR push as a happy couple. Then I'll leak a story about him cheating and dump him for good. The blood in my veins turned to ice. Every word was a hammer blow, shattering the foundation of our 3-year relationship. My hand trembled, nearly dropping the phone. I frantically scrolled up, searching for the origin of this nightmare. A file attachment jumped out at me, labeled Project Nightingale, Publicity Contract. My heart pounded against my ribs as I read through it. The entire relationship, from the very beginning, was a calculated fraud. A deal she made with her studio, Firefly Pictures. If Ava could maintain a public relationship with me for 3 years and generate a specific, massive level of media attention, the studio would pour all of its resources into making her a superstar. Her innocence, her affection, her carefully timed tantrums followed by sweet apologies, it was all a performance. Every moment was meticulously crafted to meet her goddamn KPIs. I clenched my fists, forcing myself to breathe. I took out my own phone and photographed the contract and the text messages, my body feeling hollowed out, weak. My focus returned to the dressing room door, my eyes darkening. I walked over silently and pulled it open just a crack. I froze. Leo was standing behind Ava, his arms wrapped around her, his chin resting on her shoulder as he surveyed her reflection. Babe, you're so perfect right here, he murmured, his hand cupping her breast. This deep V is going to look incredible on you. In the mirror, I could see Ava was wearing nothing but lingerie, her skin pale and exposed. She wasn't pushing him away. In fact, she was covering his hand with her own, pressing it more firmly against her chest as she smiled seductively. You always know best. He squeezed gently, a wicked grin spreading across his face. So, does my big star have a reward for me? Ava closed her eyes, purring with pleasure. Well, I was going to make Julian some of my mango cupcakes, but I guess I can give them to you instead. Humph. I don't want his leftovers, Leo pouted. Besides, what would you tell your dear boyfriend? Ava gave him a playful glare. I'm making them with your favorite recipe. As for him, I'll just buy some from a bakery. He'll never know the difference. They laughed, their eyes locking in the mirror. The air grew thick with a palpable, intimate energy. And then they started kissing. I quietly lowered the phone I'd been using to record, a violent lurch in my stomach. The bile rose in my throat, and I stumbled back, pressing a hand to my mouth as I leaned against the wall and dry heaved. I remembered all the times Ava had made me little desserts, always mango-flavored. I thought it was just a quirk, something she was used to making. Now I knew the truth. They were all for Leo. I was just the guy who got his leftovers. I steadied myself, about to turn and leave, when I heard Leo's low voice again. Babe, that bracelet is gorgeous. It looks amazing on you. My feet stopped moving. That bracelet was the birthday gift I'd given her just last week. I had engraved our names on it myself. Oh, this. Ava's voice was dismissive. You like it? You can have it. I think it would look pretty on you as an anklet. I heard Leo's slick, cloying voice. In that case, you'll have to be the one to put it on me when we get into bed later. Every last shred of love I had for her disintegrated into dust. I couldn't listen to another second. My face ashen, I walked away, telling the first crew member I saw not to mention I had been there. How many times had they been together behind my back these past 3 years? I was nothing but a complete and utter fool. A crushing sense of powerlessness washed over me. I pulled out my phone and called my company. Dad, you can stop helping Ava Monroe. What's wrong, son? Are you two quitting the business to get married? Oh, I have to tell your mother. We've been waiting for grandkids. A bitter taste filled my mouth. It's not that, Dad, I said, my voice hoarse. Ava isn't even signed to our company. We've thrown enough resources her way over the years. There's no need to boost her career anymore. My dad's tone sharpened. What happened? What did that girl do? At the sound of his concern, the emotions I had been suppressing threatened to erupt. It's nothing, Dad. I can handle it myself. Just, if you see any news break tonight, maybe help it get a little more traction. I choked back the tears, said a few more words, and hung up. Did Ava really think she had gotten where she was today because of her deal with Firefly Pictures? I had been planning to propose to her tomorrow, on our 3-year anniversary. I was going to tell her the truth then, that Starlight Media was my family's company, and I was going to sign her and make her the biggest star in the world. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. I didn't know who was more foolish, her or me. Isin Ava text. Ava, there's a party tonight I want you to come to with me. A lot of big directors and producers will be there. A moment later, she replied, Okay, send me the address. I'll head over now. Once she confirmed, I made a few quick calls to some reporters I knew. I'm proposing to my girlfriend of 3 years tonight. I'd like you all to be there to witness it. But please, keep it under wraps until it happens. They responded with excitement, promising to be discreet. I hung up, a cold smile on my face. At the agreed-upon time, Ava and Leo arrived together at the ballroom I'd specified, only to find it completely empty. I sat in my car across the street, watching as my phone lit up with her name. Julian, what the hell is this? She demanded, her voice tight with irritation. There's nobody here. Where are you? Oh, I said casually. I forgot to tell you. The party was canceled at the last minute. Before she could explode, I added, It's getting late anyway. Why don't you just stay the night? I already paid for the presidential suite on the top floor. No sense in letting it go to waste. Ava audibly suppressed her anger. Fine, but don't let this happen again. Watching the live feed from the hidden camera on my phone, I saw her and Leo walk arm in arm into the suite. That was my cue. I got out of my car and signaled to the reporters waiting nearby. All right, everyone, I announced. I told my girlfriend I wasn't coming, and that she should just use the suite. Now I'm going up there to give her the surprise of her life. You got to get a good record of this for me. They all puffed out their chests. Don't you worry, Mr. Croft. We're professionals. We'll capture every precious moment. I led the pack of reporters to the door of the suite. With a broad smile, I twisted the handle. Ava, happy 3-year anniversary. The scene inside was one of 2 naked bodies, tangled together in the throes of passion, their soft moans filling the room. As we stormed in, the suite was instantly illuminated by a blinding barrage of camera flashes. The crowd of reporters gasped. Oh my God, what is going on? Is that Ava Monroe? This is the scoop of the year. Ava Monroe is cheating on Julian Croft the night before their anniversary. This is insane. Who is that guy? He looks familiar. Isn't that her gay best friend? They snapped pictures and recorded video with a frenzy. I thought I would feel rage, but seeing it with my own eyes, all I felt was a cold, detached numbness. Ava finally reacted, letting out a piercing shriek as she pulled the covers over her head. Get out. All of you get out. Stop taking pictures. Leo scrambled frantically to pull on his clothes, his face a blotchy, humiliating red. I put on a performance of shocked devastation, my voice cracking as I roared. Ava, what the hell is this? This is how you rest for the night? With Leo? Ava, trembling, clutched a sheet to her body. Julian, let me explain. We were rehearsing a scene. Leo nodded vigorously. That's right, Julian. It's a misunderstanding. Ava has a new role, and she just asked me to help her run lines. I cut him off, taking a step forward. Rehearsing? I sneered. Does rehearsing require you to be completely naked? In the same bed? Do you have to press your mouths together to study the script? My eyes suddenly narrowed, locking onto his ankle. I pointed, my voice filled with theatrical pain. Ava, the birthday gift I gave you? The bracelet with our names engraved on it. Is this how you cherish it? By letting him wear it as an anklet. The reporter's cameras swiveled down, focusing and flashing on Leo's ankle. Ignoring Ava's ghastly, pale face, I turned to the cameras, my voice choked but clear. To all my friends in the media, I apologize that you had to see this tonight. I originally intended to give Ava a surprise. I was going to ask her to marry me. I pulled the velvet ring box from my pocket, opened it to give them all a clear shot of the massive diamond inside, then snapped it shut and threw it violently to the floor. The reporters shoved their lenses in Ava's face. Before she could speak, I raised my voice. But now I see that was just a joke. A complete and utter joke. A sham stage for a damn performance contract. Ava's head whipped towards me, her eyes wide with panic. You're lying. What contract? Julian, you're slandering me. She shrieked, her chest heaving. She knew this was a trap. I held up my phone. Leo lunged for it, but I sidestepped him easily. I displayed the photos of the contract and the screenshots of their text for all the cameras to see. When I first saw this, I refused to believe it. I announced, my voice breaking. I was going to wait until tonight, after I proposed, to let her explain it to me. But now I see it was all true. The reporters went into a feeding frenzy, pushing forward to get close-ups. Ava and Leo, their faces colorless, tried to get to me, but were blocked by the wall of bodies. The scene was pure chaos. I stood off to the side, watching their humiliation with cold satisfaction. Whenever a camera turned my way, I would dab at the corner of my eye, wiping away a non-existent tear. After a while, I asked the reporters to leave, telling them I needed to speak with the two of them alone. They all expressed their sympathy and understanding, then left, giddy with the career-making story they had just captured. Once the crowd was gone, the suite fell silent, the air thick and heavy. I stared at the two of them, my expression like ice. Ava clutched the blanket tighter, her initial pallor turning to a dark, simmering rage. Are you happy now? You set me up. You've ruined my reputation. I raised an eyebrow. Am I happy? Ava, how do you have the audacity to say that? Who was the one cheating? And as for setting you up, I continued, I just moved the little play you two have been rehearsing for years onto a much bigger stage. You bastard. Ava shrieked, grabbing a pillow and hurling it at me. I dodged it easily. Leo, however, seemed to have regained some of his composure. He finished putting on his pants, a twisted smile playing on his lips as he tried to regain control. Julian, what's the big deal? We're all adults here. If you can't handle the game, don't play. What was Ava going to get from you? The empty title of Best Actor's Girlfriend? She's better off with me, he said, wrapping a possessive arm around Ava's shoulders. At least I can make her happy. As if that gave her courage, Ava leaned into his embrace, looking at me with what she clearly thought was a worldly, knowing gaze. I know you can't live without me. I was stunned. I had to admire her nerve. Leaning against Leo, Ava scoffed, her eyes full of contempt. You found out about the contract, so what? I admit it. You can't live without me, right? You found out I was going to leave you after the contract was up, so you panicked. You wanted to ruin my reputation so that I'd have no choice but to stay with you. That way you get to look like the forgiving, magnanimous hero. Looking at her utterly delusional, self-righteous expression, I was completely dumbfounded. What kind of twisted logic was that? I almost laughed. Ava, what fantasy are you living in? What on earth makes you think I can't live without you? Your nerve? Your narcissism? You're cheating. Because you can't get it up. Leo, who had been silent, sneered, answering for her. You can't satisfy her. Ava said nothing, which was its own confirmation. This time, I really did laugh. I looked at Ava, my expression serious. You really think the reason I never pushed things with you these past 3 years, the reason I respected your boundaries, was because I couldn't perform? Ava blinked, momentarily speechless. Because you respected me. I closed my eyes for a moment. Ava, I'd like to think I've treated you well these past few years. Do you have a heart? How could you do this to me? She scrambled up, facing me. I'm ambitious. I want to get to the very top, and you can't take me there. What can you give me? What can you do besides act? I did what was best for me. What's wrong with that? Everyone in this town is trying to climb to the top. I stared into her eyes, a cold smile touching my lips. And now, she scoffed. Bad publicity is still publicity. It doesn't matter. This will probably just get me more attention. I let a smirk play on my lips. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. Because from this day forward, you no longer have a place in this industry. Leo couldn't help but laugh, a harsh, barking sound. He pulled Ava closer. Babe, do you hear him? He says he's going to blacklist you. Ava stared at me for a second, then burst out laughing too. The great actor. Have you lost your mind? What empty threat. Winning Best Actor doesn't make you the king of Hollywood. The only person in this entire town who can make a threat like that, she added, is the head of Starlight Media Group. I wasn't the head of Starlight Media, but the head of Starlight Media was my father. I gave them a serene smile and turned to leave. Is that so? Well then, you just wait and see. That night, the internet exploded. Hashtag Julian Croft catches cheaters. Hashtag Ava Marilio Vance Hotel. And hashtag publicity contract scam trended across every social media platform. Each tag followed by a string of fire emojis, signaling that the servers were about to crash. Every link led to the same bombshell story. The videos of Ava and Leo, though blurred in the critical places at my request, clearly showed their panicked faces and the clothes scattered across the floor. The evidence was undeniable. My dramatic toss of the ring box, along with the crystal-clear screenshots of the contract and their text messages, were compiled into viral photo grids and infographics. HLYSD. I am officially blind. Ava Monroe's whole Girl Next Door image just went up in flames. Scandal of the year. The relationship was fake, all for a contract. Julian Croft is the victim here. 3 years of his life wasted on a snake. And Leo Vance isn't even gay? What the hell? This is disgusting on so many levels. Firefly Pictures needs to be held accountable. What kind of predatory studio is this? They conspired to scam our boy Julian. Unfollowed. Ava Monroe, get out of Hollywood. Leo Vance, get off the planet. Ava's team went in a meltdown. Her agent blew up my phone with hundreds of calls and desperate, pleading texts. I ignored every single one. Firefly Pictures released a statement immediately, a pathetic attempt to deny the existence of the contract. They claimed it was a joke between friends that had been maliciously edited and taken out of context, and they sternly condemned my invasion of their artist's privacy. The statement was like a single drop of water on a raging grease fire. It was instantly drowned in a tidal wave of public scorn. A joke? Getting naked in bed together is a joke? Damn, you guys have a wild sense of humor. At first, Ava wasn't worried. Scandals were normal for celebrities. She figured she'd just lay low and wait for the news cycle to move on. But days passed, and the online furor only grew stronger. She noticed her own studio had stopped doing any crisis PR for her. When she realized something was seriously wrong, she called her agent, screaming into the phone. What the hell are you guys doing? Why haven't you buried this story? Or at least leaked something dirty on Julian to drag him down with me? Her agent's voice was weary, defeated. Ava, it's over. Just accept it. Starlight Media Group put the pressure on directly. Our boss can't protect you. And frankly, he doesn't want to. You're on your own. Ava was stunned. Starlight was the biggest player in the industry. Why would they suddenly move to crush a small-time actress like her? She suddenly remembered my words from that night. A shiver ran down her spine, and she frantically tried to call me. At that moment, I was at home, receiving comfort from my parents. They looked at me with pity. We told you not to get into this business, honey, my mom fretted. Wouldn't it be better to just stay home and take over the company? Look at our Julian, such a good kid. See how they treated him. My mom pulled out her phone and started swiping through photos. Julian, honey, I have a list of wonderful girls for you to meet. Whenever you're ready, just take a look. Any one of them is 100 times better than that Ava. I shook my head wearily. Dad, Mom, please give me a break. The last thing I want right now is another relationship. I paused, thinking, but I have been thinking about quitting. I wanted to prove I could make it on my own, and now that I've won Best Actor, I've done that. I'm ready to be done. My dad's face broke into a wide grin. That's my boy. You can come run the company. and your old man can finally get some rest. We'll hold a press conference and give you a proper retirement. Just then my phone rang. It was Ava. I glanced at the screen, declined to call, and blocked her number. After several failed calls, Ava realized she'd been blocked and threw her phone across the room. No, she refused to accept this. She wouldn't let her career end in such a humiliating way. With trembling hands, she posted a long, rambling essay on her social media, tried to flip the script. She tearfully recounted our 3-year relationship, implying that winning his big award had made me paranoid and insecure. She claimed I had been emotionally distant first, which caused her to have a moment of emotional weakness. She even paid a gossip blog to run a story with a shocking headline she bought herself. Best actor Julian Croft's long-term impotence and twisted psyche drove girlfriend to seek comfort elsewhere, only to be framed. This, however, was like pouring gasoline on the fire. The internet quickly sleuthed out that she had paid for the placement herself. The mockery and abuse in her comments section became a deluge. LMAO, he was distant. So distant that you had to get naked with your bestie to feel warm. The absolute queen of playing the victim. Cancel her already. Simultaneously, termination letters from major brands flew into Firefly Pictures' office like a snowstorm. High-end jewelry, luxury cosmetics, fashion endorsements. Every deal she had painstakingly built over the years was severed within hours. They were also suing her for breach of contract, demanding astronomical sums in damages. The total was more than enough to wipe out everything she had ever earned, leaving her buried under a mountain of debt. Ava wanted to smash her phone, but forced herself to calm down and call Leo. The phone rang for a long time before he picked up. The voice on the other end wasn't his usual sweet coo, but a harsh, violent snarl. What the FK do you want? I wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for you. Get lost. Ava was speechless. What's wrong with you? I have to pay back a fortune. I need you to lend me some money to tide me over. My father nearly broke my legs. I can't even save myself. It's all your fault, you goddamn curse. Leo's voice was laced with venom. Don't ever f***ing contact me again. You told me it was fine, that the studio would handle everything. Look what happened. I lost my job, my reputation is ruined, and now you want me to give you money. The line went dead. Ava felt as if a bucket of ice water had been dumped over her head. When she was on top, Leo had never spoken to her like this. He was always sweet-talking her, showering her with praise. When had he ever shown this ugly side of himself? Why was he reacting so violently? It wasn't like all hope was lost. Shaking with rage, she suddenly remembered something and searched for Leo's name online. These past few days, she'd been so consumed with her own downfall that she hadn't paid any attention to his. She opened Twitter. The #1 trending topic wasn't her. It was Leo. A sense of dread washed over her as she clicked the tag. Her body went rigid. Several actresses and models who had been harassed by Leo in the past, but had been too afraid to speak up because of his connections, were now coming forward, anonymously or semi-anonymously, to tell their stories. Famous stylist Leo V is not gay. He uses his job to grope and harass numerous female artists. I'm one of his victims. He lured me to his hotel room under the pretense of a work meeting. I was lucky I got away. Adding to this, Leo V's private life is an absolute mess. He sleeps with men and women, and I think he has, an unmentionable disease. Saw him at a clinic once, acting all shady. The hashtag STD was now inextricably and humiliatingly linked to Leo's name, rocketing to the top of the trending list. Reading the posts, Ava felt like she had been plunged into an icy abyss. No wonder Leo had been so hysterical. She suddenly recalled feeling unwell recently and scrambled out the door, racing to the nearest clinic in a blind panic. I saw the story about Leo break, and I was genuinely surprised. That was one development I hadn't anticipated. The thought that Ava might have also contracted something. I placed a hand over my heart and let out a long, slow breath of relief. Thank God. Thank God. My lifetime of good deeds had not gone unrewarded. I was busy coordinating with reporters for my own press conference. I took a quick glance at the online drama to check on their status, then put out of my mind everything that was happening to them they had brought upon themselves. A few days later, the lab report was handed to Ava like a death sentence. Staring at the positive result and the clinical name of the disease that now lived inside her, Ava's world completely fell apart. Her career was destroyed, the love she thought she had was gone, and now her body, infected by the man she thought was her true partner. Overwhelming waves of fear, disgust, and despair crashed over her. Ava crumpled to the floor in the hospital corridor, reading the report over and over again through a blur of tears, a strangled sob escaping her lips. Her attention was caught by the large television mounted on the wall. It was broadcasting my press conference live. The room was packed wall to wall with media, a forest of cameras and microphones all pointed at me. I was dressed in a sharp black suit, my expression somber, my eyes holding just the right amount of exhaustion and pain. I didn't play the victim. I just calmly and clearly presented the evidence, confirming my relationship with Ava and Leo and the existence of the publicity contract. I announced that I would be formally suing Ava Monroe, Leo Vance, and Firefly Pictures for defamation, fraud, and invasion of privacy. After all, they had tried to drag my name through the mud, and I was not going to take a hit without punching back. A reporter raised her hand. "Mr. Croft, after everything you've been through, what are your plans for the future? Will you be taking a break from the spotlight to heal? Your fans are very worried about you." I looked directly into the camera lens and spoke slowly. "Thank you all for your concern. As for my future plans, I will be taking a temporary leave from the entertainment industry." A wave of murmurs and gasps swept through the room. The reporters grew excited. Following Julian Croft was a guaranteed headline every single day. After the initial shock, many felt a pang of regret. Such a promising young talent, now so wounded by love that he would abandon his career. Hearing the whispers of pity and sympathy, a small smile touched my lips. Because I paused, my tone as casual as if I were announcing the weather, my father reminded me that after 3 years of playing around, it was time to get back to the family business. "Family? Business?" a reporter asked, confused. My assistant stepped forward at the perfect moment, adding with a polite smile, "What Mr. Croft means is that he will be formally returning to and taking over operations at the Starlight Media Group. Mr. Julian Croft is the only son of Starlight's largest shareholder and chairman." Dead silence. Every single jaw in the room dropped. In the hospital, Ava stared frozen. Her eyes widened in disbelief as she watched the man on the screen, a man she thought she knew, who was now a complete stranger, calmly announce a truth that shattered her entire reality. An overwhelming tsunami of regret, terror, and sheer, cosmic absurdity crashed over her, wiping out everything. The silence in the press room lasted for a full second before it erupted into absolute pandemonium. Every camera flashed wildly, trying to capture the aftershock on my face. The heir to Starlight Media, so his entire acting career was just a hobby. Now that he was bored, he was going back to inherit his billion-dollar empire. After making my simple announcement, I left the stage. But the press conference had sent shockwaves across the internet. HLYSD. The plot twist of the century. Best actor Julian Croft is the heir to Starlight Media. THIS is literally a movie script. Can you imagine how sick Ava Monroe feels right now? She betrayed the Crown Prince for a small-time studio deal. The worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. LMAO. I'm sorry, I no longer feel any sympathy. I just want to laugh. Ava and Leo didn't just step on a landmine. They tap-danced on a nuke. As I was exiting the building, I saw Ava running towards me, her hair a mess. She fought against the security guards, desperately trying to push her way through. Julian, please let me explain. I love you. It was all Leo. He forced me. The contract was his idea, she screamed, tears streaming down her face, her makeup smeared into a grotesque mask. Give me another chance. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Flanked by my bodyguards, I didn't break my stride. But as I passed her, I turned my head slightly, and in a voice low enough for only the two of us to hear, I said coldly, "Ava, your acting is terrible." Without a second glance, I ducked into the waiting Rolls-Royce. The heavy door closed, shutting out her desperate sobs and the clamor of the outside world. Through the window, I could see news tickers on a nearby screen, endlessly looping stories about her career's demise and the massive lawsuits she was facing. As for Leo, his litany of scandals, sexual harassment, knowingly spreading an STD, and rumors of other illegal dealings, meant he was facing a complete social and financial ruin. It was only a matter of time before he faced serious jail time. I leaned back against the plush leather seat and closed my eyes. The driver's voice was soft. "Sir, shall we head home or to the office?" I opened my eyes, watching the city lights blur past the window, a faint smile on my lips. The office. I thought that was the end of it. A few days later, however, as I was reviewing quarterly reports in the top-floor office of the Starlight building, the intercom buzzed. My secretary's voice came through. "Mr. Croft, there's a Ms. Ava Monroe in the lobby. She doesn't have an appointment, but she's causing a scene and insists on seeing you. She says it's about something extremely important regarding a project you two invested in together. A joint investment? I frowned, searching my memory. It was for our 1-year anniversary. She had her eye on a small, artsy startup with supposed potential and had begged me to invest. It was meant to be the fruit of our love, but in reality, I had funded the entire thing. I just put her name on it to make her happy. The amount was negligible, so I had never thought about it again. So this was her last-ditch effort. Cornered and desperate, trying to leverage this one pathetic remaining thread connecting us. I let out a cold laugh. Sent her up. A few moments later, Ava walked in. She looked like a different person. The glamorous starlet was gone, replaced by a haggard, disheveled woman. Julian, she began, her voice hoarse and choked with tears. Ms. Monroe. I cut her off coolly, sliding a folder across the polished desk toward her. This is the complete ownership certificate and investment record for Starlight Creative. As you can see, the investor of record is me. The legal representative is you, but all capital came directly from my personal account. Seeing her blank, confused stare, I sighed, having no patience to explain corporate law to a novice. I waved in the lawyer who was waiting outside. Begin proceedings to dissolve Starlight Creative immediately. Also, draft a press release stating that Ms. Monroe has been stripped of all duties related to this project. Her personal actions have no connection to the project or to me. No, you can't do this. Ava shot up from her chair, her eyes wild with a crazed panic. That's the only thing I have left. My name is on it. Get back to me. The lawyer, his face impassive, made a polite this-way gesture. Ms. Monroe, I will handle the paperwork. Please leave now and do not disturb Mr. Croft while he is working. I had security escort her out, and see to it she is never allowed in this building again. My gaze returned to the financial reports on my computer screen, and a genuine smile spread across my face. This was a true ending. Clean, absolute, with not a single loose thread remaining. The old story was over. The new one was just beginning.